Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. Please subscribe and keep watching more details. General Hospital Friday, August 16 spoilers. John makes stunning arrest. Ava painted as victim, Jason's discovery. General Hospital, GH, spoilers for Friday, August 16. Reveal that Laura Collins, Jenny Francis, will meet with Jack Brennan, Charles Mazur, to discuss a unique opportunity. So she may think the WSB's new Port Charles office could be a good thing for the people of PC. Laura may admit she doesn't trust Brennan or agree that his record should have been wiped clean, but her main concern now will be working together to make Port Charles as safe as it can possibly be. Meanwhile, Maxie Jones, Kirsten Storms, will be relieved and grateful to learn Cody Bell, Josh Kelly, came to James West's Gary James Fuller rescue in the lake. Max Scorpio, John J. York, will thank Cody as well and acknowledge that it was a mistake to keep James away from him. Over with Molly Lansing Davis, Kristen Vaginos, and TJ Ashford, Taj Bello, they'll make a difficult decision that they can't keep putting off. TJ and Molly may finally select a name for their deceased baby and finalize arrangements for the funeral service. Molly and TJ will talk to Stella Henry, Vernie Watson, and Curvis Ashford, Donald Turner, about all this, but could there be some friction if Christina Corinthos Davis, Kate Mancy, gets territorial and wants to name the baby herself? Of course, Christina could have bigger problems depending on what the results of her discharge examination look like. Dr. Frida Navarro, Christina Ferraro, will share those results with Christina, so we'll see if there were any complications that could affect her ability to have children in the future. There was already some talk about trying to avoid a hysterectomy, so we'll see what Dr. Navarro says and what it will mean for Christina moving forward. Whatever the case, Sonny will promise Christina that Ava Jerome, Maura West, will be punished for what she did. However, John Jagger Cates, Adam J. Harrington, has another plan in mind and has suggested those photos could tell a very different story that would help Ava. Although Ava will think it'll be tough sell to paint her as a victim, John may argue that the pics show Christina being aggressive and sealing her own fate. Agent Cates will definitely see a way to spin his and may argue that it'll help push Sonny to his breaking point. GA spoilers say John will make a surprising arrest in Friday's episode, so could his plan go as far as arresting Christina? Regardless, Agent Cates will continue doing everything he can to take Sonny down, no matter who becomes collateral damage. Sonny has been dropping some hints about eliminating John, but he's about to drop even more. If John forces his hand, Sonny will tell Jason Morgan, Steve Furton, that he won't have a choice, presumably meaning he'll have John killed if he has to. Jason will eventually hit the jackpot in some way, so that could involve evidence that Scott Baldwin, Ken Schreiner, is hiding Clement Moore, Philip Cass, at Windermere. Back with Laura, she'll get a phone call that leaves her in distress, so this might have something to do with Lucky Spencer's Jonathan Jackson return that's happening later this month. General Hospital spoilers say Laura may find herself in panic mode over some troubling updates, so we'll bring you more predictions on the stunning news ahead. Port Charles was bustling with its usual blend of secrets, lies, and the simmering tension that seemed to pulse beneath the town's very streets. But as the sun rose on this particular Friday, the air felt heavier, charged with the anticipation of something that was about to break wide open. At the PCPD, John McBain was deep in thought, his brow furrowed as he stared at the file on his desk. The case had been gnawing at him for weeks. Ava Jerome, the enigmatic and ever-controversial art dealer, had been at the center of it all. She was no stranger to trouble, but this time, things were different. This time, there was a twist that would soon throw everyone off balance. The evidence had been piling up against Ava, each piece more damning than the last. But something about it didn't sit right with John. He'd been a cop long enough to know when something was off, and this case was definitely off. The trail that led to Ava was too clean, too neat. It was as if someone had gone out of their way to make sure all roads pointed directly to her. Across town, Ava was trying to keep herself composed at the Jerome Gallery, her sanctuary and her battleground. She was used to fighting for her business, her daughter, and her very life on occasion. But this time she was fighting for her freedom, and the odds were not in her favor. The whispers, the pointed looks, and the not-so-subtle accusations had all started to wear her down, even though she considered allies were beginning to doubt her. But Ava was nothing if not resilient. She clawed her way out of darker places before, and she wasn't about to go down without a fight. As she stood before one of her prized paintings, she couldn't help but feel the irony of the situation. Here she was, surrounded by beautiful illusions, while the world outside was intent on painting her as the villain in someone else's masterpiece. Jason Morgan, meanwhile, had been working quietly in the shadows, as was his style. He had his own reasons for getting to the bottom of the mess that was Ava's current predicament. Sonny Corinthos had his own agenda, but Jason's motives ran deeper. He'd known Ava for years, and while she was far from innocent, Jason knew there was more to this story. His gut told him that Ava was being set up, and Jason's gut was rarely wrong. He'd spent the last few days piecing together clues, pulling on threads that others had overlooked. And now he was closer than anyone realized. Today, he was going to make a discovery that would change everything. As the day wore on, the tension in Port Charles grew thicker. John received a tip that led him to one of the seedier parts of town, a place where criminals and informants mingled in the shadows. It was here that John found the missing piece of the puzzle, a witness who had seen something they shouldn't have. And what they revealed was enough to make John's blood run cold. The witness had seen someone else at the scene of the crime, someone who had gone to great lengths to frame Ava. With this new information, John knew he had to act fast. Time was running out, and if he didn't move now, Ava would be lost in the system, another victim of Port Charles' underworld. Back at the gallery, Ava received an unexpected visitor, Julian Jerome. Despite their complicated history, Julian had always had a soft spot for his sister. He warned her that things were about to get worse, that she needed to be prepared for whatever came next. But even Julian didn't know just how close the storm was to breaking. Jason, on the other hand, was on the move. He'd uncovered a critical piece of evidence, something that tied everything together, a security tape that had been doctored to implicate Ava. The original footage, which Jason had managed to recover, showed someone else entirely, a figure whose identity would send shockwaves through Port Charles. By late afternoon, the tension reached its peak. John made his way to Ava's gallery, his face a mask of grim determination. Ava, who had been expecting the worst, was taken aback by the look in John's eyes. This wasn't the face of a man coming to arrest her. This was the face of a man who had uncovered the truth. Ava Jerome, John began, his voice steady. "You're under arrest." The words hung in the air like a death sentence, but there was something in John's tone that gave Ava pause. She searched his eyes for a hint of what was really going on, but John was unreadable as ever.